Hello, Abe.
Hello there. How are
How are
you?
you?
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, the same here.
What's that?
The same here.
Good,
Baruch
good,
Hashem. Just
good.
hot. Just hot.
Too much traveling, that's all.
You were traveling?
I was in Canada for just 10, 12 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Where do you go? To Toronto?
Toronto, yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. I had your site last week,
Hmm.
so I went in for that, and looked after some business.
That's okay.
Yeah, yeah, not complaining. Where are we at? Lamed, eight?
Lamed Vovnik. Lamed Vov.
Oh,
36.
yeah.
Oh, George.
¿Cómo estás? Ayer me
Muy
agarraste en fly con mis manos arriba, don Mario.
bien.
Hi, Abe.
Hello there. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Good. Been away?
Yeah, in LA, teaching at the VA.
Oh,
So keeping out of trouble.
that's important.
Yep. Anyway.
Hi, everybody.
Good
Hey.
evening.
Good evening.
So,
We are on Lamed Hey Amid Beis on the bottom, 35b on the bottom. We're going to do 36 today. Lamed Vav. Vashem and Shalahen, we dealing with things that the non-Jews prepare that are prohibited, but not prohibited in Hana. The Mishnah said Shemen Shalahen. Their oil. So why can't we use their oil? So Shemen Rav Amar Daniel Gozra Alav. Daniel in Bavel, he made the first gzeira against their shemen. Ushmuel Amar Zlifasan shel kelim tmein osartan. That the shemen is prepared in vessels that have absorbed food that is tamei, and the tamei comes out to the shemen, and that's why it's prohibited. So the Gemara doesn't understand. Only kohanim have to avoid eating tamei foods. Regular people are not careful in tumah v'tahara. Elas lifasan shel kelim asurin. These are vessels that have trace, chazer, other dvarim isurim, nevela, flavor absorbed in the wall, comes out into the shemen. Armei Shmuel Rav Bishmal Levi. That means lifasan shel kelim asurim osartan. I understand. My shita says Shmuel to Rav that it's prohibited flavors that come out of the kelim into the shemen. Hainu, that's why the Chiyas Rav Yitzchak Bar Shmuel Bar Marta v'Omar Dorish Rav Shimloi ben Etzivin shemen Rav Yehuda Beis Dino Nimnu Alav, that Rav Yehuda and his Beis Din voted v'tiru, and they lifted the gzeira. Why? Ksavar noisen tamlif gam mutter. This is a principle in kashrus that when a flavor is absorbed in the wall of a vessel, and then the flavor comes back out into the food, if it's a bad taste, so some hold that just because it's a prohibited flavor, since it's the tam is livgam is bad, mutter. So since the tam of the shemen is made worse by whatever the absorption comes out of the kli, it's not prohibited. But that makes sense if you hold that the reason initially that they ushered it was because of the prohibited item in the vessel. But you, Rav, who hold the Amrit Daniel Gozer Allah, that the reason shemen is prohibited because Daniel made exer, Daniel Gozer v'asar yidon nosim v'vatale. How could Daniel make exer when Rabbi Yehuda Nosim lived 500 years later? Mevatalit vatnan ein based in yochel levatal divrei based in chavero. Elam can go mevin. A later bezdin cannot get rid of a takana that a previous bezdin made. And Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was certainly not as great as Daniel. Omer lei, simloi ludoko amrit. You're asking me a kasha based on what simloi shiny ludoi de mizalzalu. They are mizalzal be isurim, and this misor that he gave, that Rabbi Yehuda is based in, voted and got rid of it because of nois and talif kam. You can't rely on that. We hold by nois and talif gam that if it's a bad taste that goes into a food, it's permitted. Amr lei, so Shmuel said, Eshlach lei. Let's send him a question to find out from where does he know the halacha. Ichsif. Rav was embarrassed. Amr Rav, Imhain, Lord Dorshu, if they didn't darshan the same posuk that Daniel darshaned, Anan lo darshan, what we shouldn't darshan, what Daniel darshan vaksiv. Those of us in the Tanakh Shir learned this pasuk. Vayasam Daniel alibo, asher lo yizgal b'pas pagamelech uviyayin mishtav. Daniel made an isser for himself not to eat the king's bread and his wine and his other beverages. Bishtei mishtos akos medamer. Two types of beverages, echad mishta yain, echad mishta shemen. So Rav made a gzeira. So why does Rav? How does Rav learn? Rav savar alibo sam v'lo l'cha Yisrael hoira. Rav held that Daniel made a private takana for himself, but he didn't make a gzeira for Gans Klal Yisrael. Shmuel savar alibo sam v'lo Yisrael lo hoira. Shmuel said, I'm sorry. Rav savar alibo sam v'lo Yisrael hoira. Daniel made the gzeir for himself, and he passed him to Klal Yisrael. Shmuel said, no, he made a personal gzeir, but he didn't teach it to the rest of Klal Yisrael. Frag the Gemara v'Shemen, Daniel Gozar? Is Daniel the one that was Gozer on Shemen? V'Omar Bali Ba'avimi Nuto Mishmei Derav. Pitan Ushmanon, the bread of Goyim and their oil. Yenan uvnosei, and their wine and their daughters. Kulan mishmona asar davarhein. There was a day when the Talmidei Beis Shammai Beis Hillel agreed to 18 different gzeiras. And Rav is now testifying that this gzeira on Shemen of Goyim is one of these 18. So v'chitei masa Daniel Gozar v'lo kibel. So maybe you have to learn pshat that Daniel made the gzeira and the people didn't accept in his day. But also Talmidei Hillel v'Shammai v'Gozer v'kibel, and then later on, when the students of Hillel and Shammai made the gzeira, the people did accept. Im kain mai asadu se derav. What is this testimony of Rav that he said that Daniel made a gzeira? That's why Shemen is usher, but the people didn't accept it. Elo Daniel Gozer alav be'ir. He made a gzeira in the city, and the people accepted it. The also inu v'gozer afilu b'sod. The Talmidim of Shammai and Hillel expanded the gzeira that even in the fields they wouldn't eat the shemen of goyim. Rav Yudah Nasi hechi motzi l'mishra takonta. Again, we ask the question. Rav Yudah Nasi and his Beis Din voted to say that the gzeira doesn't work anymore. How does that work? Hechi motzi l'mishra takonta. The Talmidei Shammai v'Hillel vatnan in Beis Din yochel levatel divrei Beis Din chaver lam ken gadol l'mena b'chochma v'ninyan. The Beis Din of Shammai and Hillel were 200 years before the Rav Yudah Nasi. How could his Beis Din is a much later Beis Din? The rule doesn't apply to him. V'od ham Rav Rachahun am Rav Chana Rav Yechon b'kol yochel levatel Beis Din divrei Beis Din chaver chutz mishmana sedavar. Not only that, other later Beis Dinim can nullify previous gzeiros, except for the 18 things. Even Eliyahu Navi would come with his Beis Din and be matir the Shmona Asar Gzeiros, including Shemen. We wouldn't listen to Eliyahu. Amra Mishashi Mata. Why can't we nullify the 18 Gzeiros? Hoilu Pashat Yisrael Rav Yisrael. Because it become standard minig, this prohibition, in all of the majority of Israel. Shemen loy pashat Yisrael Rav Yisrael. But the prohibition on goyish oil had not spread throughout Klal Yisrael. Damar Shmuel Barabban Rav Yichlon, Yoshev Rabbi Seinu Ubot called Shemen shlo pashat Yisrael Rav Yisrael. The Chachamim made a survey, and they found that the majority of Jews had not accepted any kind of Isra on Shemen. The Samchu Rabbi Seinu al Divrei Rabban Shimon Gamliel, al Divrei Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Tzadok. They relied on these two Tanoim. Shayu Oimrim, ein goyzrin gzeira lat tzibur elam kein rov tzibur chon lamed boy. We don't keep a gzeira if the majority of the people cannot keep it. And if there was a gzera, you can be mevatel. Damar vada barava mikra. Pasuk in Malachi. Va'me'era atem ne'arim v'osi atem kovim hagoy kulo. Goy kulo. If all of the Klal Yisrael or the majority have accepted something in ilo lo, so there's no gzera if the minority if the majority of the Klal cannot withstand the gzera. Gufa. Something in detail. That which we mentioned in passing. Amar Bailey Amar Avimi Nuto Mishmei Derav. Pita Nushmanan Yenov Nasein. Goyish bread, oil, their wine, and their daughters. Kulan Mishmona Serdover. There was a gzeira by the Talmidei Shammai v'Hillel against all of those. What is this? What is the gzeira against their bonos? B'noseim man. When Yitzchak Gozra b'noseim nidus marisoisan. That there was a gzeira that any goyish woman, even in the crib, even before they are of the age where they would have a period, they already had tumas nida. Ugniva mishmei derav amar kulon mishum avodah zara gazer behem. It's all because it would lead to avodah zara. Chiyas Ravacha bar Ada, when Ravacha bar Ada went from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Omar Rav Yitzchak Gozra Pita Mishum Shamnan. They made a gzeira on their bread because of their oil. Now, my Ummah, why is the eating shemen worse than eating pas? It's just the opposite. Ella al pitan ushman mishum yena. It's clear that you're not allowed to drink their wine. So we made an isser to eat their bread and their oil because we might come if we ate those to drink their wine. Why don't we drink their wine? Al yenan mishum b'nosein. We don't want to socialize. We'll end up marrying them. Then val b'nosei mishum davar acher. We don't get involved in their girls because of avodah zara. Val davar acher mishum davar acher. Something that's not mentioned, what we stayed away from, they made a gzeira because of something else, which the Gemara will explain later on what that is. Now, freik the Gemara b'nosein, why do you need a gzeira against their girls? D'oraisa t'chsiv lo sischaten bam. Don't marry them. Bitcha lo titein livno, bito lo tikach livnecha. It's not a gzeira chachamim. So, the oraisa, the prohibition of the oraisa was the Shiva Goyim. The 7 nations in Eretz Yisrael, the Chivi, the Chiti, the Knani, the Girgashi, the Emoiri, the prohibition was against them. Aval Shar Umas, but other Goyim, lo, would not be a prohibition. But also inu v'gozer, afilu al Shar Umas. Then the Chachamim, this Gzeira on Banais, they came to extend the Gzeira to other nations. Well, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, the Omar, Ki asir es bincha me'acharoi. Don't marry a non-Jew because they'll steer the hearts of your sons from Hashem. L'rabbis kol ha'mesiros. So that would be anyone, including bonos of other goyim, if they're avodah zara, Michael and Meimar. So again, it seems to be a doraisa, not a gzeres chachamim. Ella, doraisa issues. The prohibition of Midaraisa is to marry them through Nesuin, but they're chasnos, because it says, Lo sischatin bam. The asu inu gozer afilu derechnos. The Chachamim, when they made the Gzeira and the bonus, was even just to have relations with them, even without marriage, just having bia. So the Gemara says, what do you mean? The Chachamim made it, Znus nami bebeis dino shel shem gozru. We know there was a yeshiva Shem ve'ever, Malki Tzedek Melech Sholem, Yerushalayim, the son of Noah, Shem. He also had a Beis Din. And in the time of Yehuda, he saw Tamar and had relations with her. And when she was pregnant, he didn't know who she had. She was under the prohibition of Yibum. So he told everybody, "V'yomer Yehuda tziyuv v'sisaref," take her out and burn her. So there was already a halacha from the Beis Din of Shem that a Yisraelis that had relations with a goy is misa. Ela deraisa goy haba bas Yisrael. There is a prohibition of a Jewish girl sleeping with a goy, because the mashka basrei, because she will follow him and worship Avodah Zara. Well, Yisrael habala goy lo, but a Jewish man living with a non-Jewish girl, that was not a deraisa. Also, in Gazer Afil Yisrael habala goy. Came the Chachamim with this Gzeir of Bonais and said that even a Jewish man cannot have relations with a Jewish woman. So the Gemara says, what do we need? Chachamim Yisrael habala goy halach l'moshe misinayu. We already know it from halach l'moshe. The Amar Mar haboila ramis. Someone who has relations with a non-Jewish girl. Kanoin poikenbo. Those that are zealots can already kill him, like Pinchas did to Zimri. Amar lei, yeah, doraisa, that's befarhesia. You're koining poikenbo if a Jewish man has relations with a non-Jewish girl in public. Like with Zimri. Came the Chachamim also inu gazra afilu bitzina. They prohibited even privately to have relations with a goyita. For anything more, bitzina nami based dinner shel chashmonoi gazru. This having relations with a non-Jewish girl, even bitzina, the chashmonoim prohibited. The chiyas Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi went to Eretz Yisrael, Omar based din shel chashmonoi gazru, she Yisrael abola goya, a Jewish man has relations with a goya, chayv mishum nashga. He's chayv 4 different prohibitions. It's considered as if he slept with a nida, a shivcha, a goya, and eshes ish. That's nashga. And kiyasa ravin amar mishum nashgaz, nida, shivcha, goya, or zoina. So the Beis Din of the Chashmonim already prohibited. Ki gazru Beis Din of Chashmoni. Bia, that's actually having relations. Aval yichud lo. To sequester yourself in a room with a non-Jew, Jewish woman, they did not prohibit midoraisa, or they didn't prohibit in their Beis Din. The asu inu came the students of Shammai Nilal and the Gazra afilu yichud, that you couldn't even be yached with a non-Jewish girl. Yichud nami, Beis Din shel David Gazru. David HaMelech had a Beis Din, they were already going on that. The Amar of Yehuda, Ba'oisa Shah, after Amnon, one of David's children, raped Tamar, Gazra al Yichud. They made exer not to be miyached. Amri Hasam Yichud Bas Yisrael. Then you cannot be miyached with a Jewish girl, even single. Certainly not an erva. Aval Yichud Goya lo. But to be miyached with a non-Jew, there was no isser. The asu inu hil shamay came Gazra fil al Yichud shel Goy, even having sequestration with a non-Jewish girl. So Yichud Bas Yisrael deraisa. There was no gzeira to be miyached about Yisrael. The Amar of Yochlim Shur Shim ben Yotzadak Remez liyichud b'lator minayin shenemar ki yisischa achicha ben imecha. Your brother of the same mother will convince you to worship Avodah Zara. Why does it say achicha, who is your ben imecha? V'chi ben ein mesis ben av ein mesis. A brother from the same mother will mesis you, and a brother from the same father will not. Ela ben misyachad imimo. The halacha is you can have yichud with your mother, but that's the only erva that you're allowed to have that you're allowed to have yichud with, because 2 brothers could be together at the same time. But ein acher misyachad im koler araya shebetor. You may not have yichud with any other prohibited relations. So we already had yichud as an isser. Yichud deraisa is only eshes ish. There was only one yichud, eshes ish. Also, David v'Gazar fil al yichud shel pnuya. If it's related to you, a prohibited erva, even if she's single, there is already an isser. Also, Tamid Beis Shammai v'Sil Gazar fil al yichud shel goya, and they extend it to a non-Jew. we had this strange phrase that they made Gzeira al davar acher mishum davar acher. What is this? Amar dach b'yitzak gazra al tina goy sheyitma beziva. A male goy baby, we have to assume that he's tome bezivus. Shelo yeh tinek Yisrael rogel etzlo, because we want to keep Jewish kids away from them, because otherwise they'll be involved in Mishkav Zachar with homosexual acts. I had great pain asking Ravasi, and he didn't answer me. Ravasi ate Rav Yochanan. Ravasi asked Rav Yochanan. Rav Yochanan ate Rav Yanai. Rav Yanai ate Rav Nosson ben Amram. Rav Nosson ben Amram ate Rebbe. What was the Sheila? Tinik goy me'emesai metabe beziva. When do we give a goy boy the status of tumaziva? V'amarli ben yomo, even a day-old child. U'kshabati etzel Rav Chia amarli ben tesha shav yomecha. No, he's got to be at least Roy Labia, which is 9 years old. Kshabati v'ertzesi devari lifnei Rebbe. When I told Rebbe what Rav Chia told me, amarli hanach devarai, drop what I told you. I believe Reb Chia is correct. That the tuma only starts at 9 years old. Since he can now have bia, so now he's metame beziva as well. Okay, we'll stop here.